The MG EHS is the car that shows how far this brand has traveled in just a few years. A decade ago, MG was the budget option you considered only after everything else fell outside your price range. Now it is walking into the heart of the family plug-in hybrid segment with a car that looks the part, charges the part, and undercuts the establishment by thousands. In Romania, this exclusive trim lands at €33,800 after the current offer, which works out to around $39,000, with a list price closer to €41,600 before the discount. That alone tells you who this car is really aimed at, and it is not the bargain hunter MG used to chase. From the outside, the EHS has grown into something that no longer apologizes for its badge. The new face is wide and low, with a deep mesh grille and slim headlights that stretch into the bodywork. It is not overdone, which is important, because the surfacing down the sides is clean and the roofline drops toward the back in a way that gives this SUV more of a coupe attitude than the segment usually allows. The full-width light bar across the tail is the kind of detail you used to find 2 price brackets higher. In this warm metallic finish, under the showroom lighting, it reads far more expensive than it is. Inside is where the change feels personal. You sit down and immediately understand that MG stopped building to a price and started building to an impression. 2 12.3-inch screens dominate the dash. The materials around the door, tops, and center console feel soft and considered, and the orange contrast stitching across the seats lifts the whole cabin. The driver's screen is clean and quick to read, and the climate controls sit on a separate panel of physical switches below the screen, which means you are not diving into a menu to adjust the temperature. That alone makes daily life easier than it is in a lot of newer rivals. If there is one honest note to strike here, it is the way the infotainment screens sit inside thick black bezels rather than running edge to edge. Against the soft materials everywhere else, those borders feel like the one place the budget showed up. It is a small thing though, and the system itself runs smoothly, supports wireless phone connection, and looks crisp once you are actually using it. The space behind the rear seats is genuinely useful. With the seats up, you get just over 15.5 cubic feet, and folding them down opens up close to 46 cubic feet of flat load room. There are nets on each side, a powered tailgate on this trim, and a wide opening that makes loading easy. For a family that needs to swallow a buggy and a weekly shop, there is nothing here that asks you to compromise. Under the hood is where the EHS makes its strongest case. The plug-in hybrid system pairs a turbocharged 1.5-liter petrol engine with an electric motor for a combined 268 horsepower and 350 newton-meters of torque, sent to the front wheels through a 2-speed automatic. That is plenty for a car this size, and because the electric motor does most of the low-speed work, it pulls away quietly and smoothly before the petrol engine ever wakes up. The number that matters most, though, is the electric range. On a full charge, this car will cover around 68 miles on battery alone, which is nearly double what you get from a plug-in Sportage or Kuga. If breakdowns like this help you decide what to buy, subscribe so you catch the next one. That range is the kind of figure that changes how you actually live with a plug-in hybrid, because most people could go a full week of commuting without burning a drop of fuel. The one engineering choice worth flagging is charging. The EHS handles its battery through an 11-kilowatt AC system only, with no DC fast charging on board. Some buyers will see that as a limitation. In practice, with 68 miles of range in a battery this size, you are charging overnight at home far more often than you are stopping in public, which takes most of the sting out of the slower top-up. It is a sensible trade for a car built around the daily commute rather than the road trip. Pricing is where the whole story comes back together. At roughly €5,700 under a comparably equipped Kia Sportage plug-in hybrid with more electric range, a longer warranty, and a cabin that feels a class above its sticker, the EHS is not asking you to settle for less to save money. It is asking you to notice that the gap between the value brands and the established names has nearly closed. The MG EHS is not trying to reinvent the family SUV. It is reminding everyone that the things buyers used to pay a premium for, presence, range, and a cabin that feels special, no longer require the premium badge. And if this is the direction MG keeps heading, the rest of the segment has a real problem to solve.